As Five Names said on last week's Lair, you should never meet your idols, but these two are doing it 2 weeks in a row because the Phantoms put up a 2,500 in SuperCoach in round 11, top of the pod by an absolute mile. We're not even going to do the segment this week. Five Names. Chief, you didn't want to come in today.
No.
You didn't want to be here with me.
No, I didn't.
You're not happy for me?
No.
Chief?
Not at all. Not one bit.
I reckon. Can you get what's the button you the one to cut off the swearing? Get that ready today. I reckon.
You can get the horny one going because that's how good my score was on the weekend.
Oh my God.
No, welcome back to the Phantoms Lair podcast. The bye rounds are here. It's going to be a big show, almost as big as my score on the weekend.
So smug. He's just
plenty to talk about though.
Trotting around
big
the
show.
office.
Chief muscles.
Yeah, go on.
Welcome.
All right. Thanks for having me. Yes, the buys are here. We've got lots to get through. Also, DPPs coming up.
Yes.
We'll go through all that shortly. But fans, why don't you just take us through the score so we can get it over with? Hurry up.
How long do I have?
Just go.
2,500.
Cool.
Yep.
About 300 more than you. And you weren't even bottom.
Okay.
No, big week from the boys.
Yep.
All played well.
Yeah.
I'm up to 452 overall. Moved up
452 in the three figures. No, congratulations, fans. Well done.
I'm not
Well
saying
done.
congratulations. I'm salty.
Some big scores, some big names, some big pods too. We'll get to them in Heroes. Going to be a big segment, Heroes, this week. Chief, middle of the pod, how'd you go?
Yeah, I got a 22.35. So, yeah, not too happy with that. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I got through. I think we all were dealt a bit of a blow with Cooper Simpson, the donut there. So everyone had to deal with that. But some of us copped it worse than others. And yeah, just some of my guys didn't stand up. So plenty of villains for me, Phants.
Now, I have to enjoy it myself because everyone loves to beat the Phantom. No one's happy when I score well. So I've got to be over the top in my enjoyment.
Cool.
But Five Names, you are seriously grumpy today. King of Bop.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're grumpy. What happened?
I don't know. How do you explain a dumpster fire like this? 21-41, and I scored that. I've had to deal with Phantom giving the billion all day. This isn't a good Monday. This isn't a good day.
It's rough. He was flat all weekend, wasn't he, old Five Names?
Yeah, you almost ran onto Adelaide Oval on Sunday as well when Ryan Maric had clanger number 8 too.
I was close to maybe going to the West Coast rooms.
You lit up the group chat.
No. Don't do our man Maric like that.
No, he's not the worst. He's not the worst on my team.
Heroes and villains, Phants, you've got about 1,000 heroes, you said, so take us away.
Got to narrow that down. I picked out 2.
2 heroes.
Yeah. Now, the rookie hero of the week, Sandy Brock. Now, when we're all struggling for bench rookies and cash generation, which I am in most other spots too, Sandy Brock came with a 79 against the Crows on field as the Horny Ones replacement. Huge.
Yeah,
Number
that was
2.
big. Yeah, that was big.
You scored that much and your heroes scored 79.
Well, we'll take all day to go through my...
We need the cash though, so yeah.
If you want me to go through my 120 plus scores, it might take a while. But my other hero, last week I put my villain was the Essendon Football Club in general. They're back in the good books.
Yep.
Zach Merritt up there. Captain for me on the week, 156. Absolute pig performance. He was good in the midfield for 3 quarters, went back behind the ball, iced the game, was taking kick-ins as well. Unbelievable performance. Good buying this week. We'll get to that shortly as well. New picture on the wall of the Lair if you are watching on the Code Sport YouTube channel with Angus Clark as well, 90 on debut. So there's the GOAT hugging one of the GOAT cash cows of the year, potentially.
Yep, love it.
What do you got?
I'm just going to go with a guy who I thought was going to be traded out of my team quite a while ago, but managed to stick around. It's still the buys. He's on the buy this week, and I have no intention of trading him out in the short term anyway, and that's Adam Chera. coming back with a couple of big scores right when I needed it because the rest of my team's fallen apart. And 122 from Adam Chera was a welcome return. He's come good and he's playing well. He's playing good footy for my squad.
Yep, very good. You got any heroes?
Yeah, one or two. Chad Sinclair. Just good player. Yeah.
That's it, villains. Why don't you keep it going then?
What happened to
Villains?
Royal Marshall?
Well, that's my villain. Jeez, he was a hero like that. Fifth. I know Whitler's hard to play against, but 55. Oh, like.
I feel like we flagged it. It was going to be a good matchup. Then he had two tough matchups. But hopefully after, like, it's probably a bit more pain this week. And then after his bye, you might just get a few.
I know.
Scores,
I couldn't afford Matt, so I understand. But
yeah, it's tough.
Just get me at least an 80, please. I don't know. Yeah, man.
Tough scenes.
Yeah.
Phants, do you have any villains or you good?
I've got. Well, are we going with Harry Sheezel? Maybe Kane Corn's a villain as well for convincing Clarko to play Sheezel out of that halfback role, which we know is so SuperCoach friendly. So
yeah, some more numbers. A new segment later on to delve deeper, but some troubling numbers that might convince you if you do have no other issues in your team that maybe he is a potential trade out.
Hiding that from us? Haven't heard that.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked at the run sheet. So
bit of a new segment later on.
How'd the draft podcast go last night?
Yeah, should have got back on it. Phants also, by the way, terrible in draft, so maybe stick to classic there.
I am
Phants.
sticking to classic. But, Chief, he's grumpy. Is there another reason why he could be grumpy?
There is.
Something might be happening.
There is something happening.
Ooh.
Quickly get to my villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elijah Hewitt. I don't usually do it to rookies. 49 in the first half. I was so looking forward. I called a ton in the group chat. I said, here's a ton pre-game. And then, 49 at half got me way too excited. I think he was leading all West Coast scorers. Ended on a 57. There was about a -7 in the third quarter there. So,
you're throwing a 20-year-old kid.
I needed it. I just needed
playing
it.
for the bottom side.
No,
under the bus.
Promising. Unbelievable. I just needed it.
When we get the GOAT on, Ryan Maric, we'll get
might even be on Ross Lyon because I went early on Filippo and that is looking disgusting.
That's the villain for your own team for that.
Maybe I am. For that. All right, well, let's move on, Phants, into what we've got to talk about this week. And as you said, we do have a little bit of an update, a bit of housekeeping before we get into the huge topics of the week. Bit about the top scorers this round. Another massive week. So you got a 2,500. The score to beat this week, block your ears, Sim, 26.73.
I was close.
I nearly vomited.
Was the score. They took out the weekly prize. That was Frazelenko and Kyle's team there. Had Merit VC just like you did. Nick Martin with the 166, 163, sorry. And Luke Jackson also had a 163. A couple of massive scores there.
Kyle might have watched Buy, Hold, Sell last week.
Yeah, Nick Martin made an appearance. And it's also your last chance to join the Lair League. So it closes this week. I think you can still join. You should be able to. Now we've got some SuperCoach merch up for grabs in that. And apparently we've got 5 names buying you a beer if you're ever in Adelaide as well. That's apparently part of the prize there.
Yep.
Really? All right.
Now we've got 3.
How come 5 names is buying?
3 of the top 10 coaches in the league are currently in that, but we just dropped off number 1.
Mitch.
So number 2. Disappointing there, but still number 2 overall.
It was 5 names territory, 2,200 for Mitch.
Yeah. So 719067. Last chance to join it. Shutting now so that we can, have our loyal Lair listeners be able to jump in, and not those people that jump on too late. We need our loyal Lair listeners in there. But the big announcement, Sim.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
Before we get it in there, before we start this pod.
We did it. We did it!
Our ratings target.
Cool. Thank you, loyal Lair listeners.
I had like a revelation a little bit last week. I was like, has Dossie tied this to like a KPI, like bonus kind of thing?
Good.
Not at all.
Yeah, he might have.
Not at all. No,
Did have a big SuperCoach meeting last week.
Yeah.
All the big dogs were in town. He would have. Now the timing's not a coincidence there, I don't reckon.
No, look, it was all just for our loyal Lair listeners to have something to give back. And what are we giving back, Sim? It is going to be your hair.
Yeah.
Once again, being beautifully bleached. As we've seen you do it in the past.
Yeah, I know.
It's a great look, and the listeners wanted to bring it back.
I like how you like, it's such a big deal and all that stuff. No, It's, as I was saying before, it's literally that meme of that guy, one light and I'll get blackout drunk by myself. And then he lights it, goes and say no more.
So you were stoked.
He's booked it in. He's already booked
No,
it in.
I haven't booked it in. I need to, actually, I know you want to see it. And it does, it's a little bit of a process. Like you're not doing a home job here. You
Especially when you're going to do the scalp, right? The scalp.
No, I'm not scalping. No, I'm going to go to some place, have a chat, see what the options are. But it'll be done soon. I mean, because I'm around a dark mofo, so we do it for there.
Oof, we've done it. So congratulations. Thank you everyone who got in your rating and review. We're up to 560. So it wasn't just creeping over the 500. We wanted 500 ratings on Spotify and Apple. You guys got there. Thank you so much for doing that. So Sim will be bleaching his hair soon.
Actually, on that
We'll
note,
have to post a photo. You have to post a photo.
I'll try and get it done by next Monday. How about that?
Ooh, wow, that is.
So
we love that.
Well, I'll try. Yeah, I'll try.
Now-
So you have to be watching if you're not already. Code Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe there and watch it next
We'll see how we
week.
go.
Get on.
Other thing, shout out to Matt Sampson at Port Adelaide who, because I was speaking to someone about it and they're like, oh yeah, the bleach hair thing. I was like, what?
Oh, nice.
Shout out to listener. Yeah,
Yep,
listener.
nice.
He would have
Good man.
chucked a rating in there.
And then
Sure.
we'll.
If he did, I'm actually going to be furious.
All right. Well, we need to figure out now what we're going to do for 1,000 because that'll be next. I reckon Phants, you're up. I'll be right. I'll miss one.
How about you scalp? How about you scalp bleach your hair?
I couldn't get away with that.
1,000.
Anyway, get in your recommendations. Let's talk some SuperCoach though, Phants. Round 12's coming up, and we have reached the buys. Now we did have a big chat with the GOAT last week about how to navigate them. If you haven't heard that, go back and listen. Still very relevant. Interview with Selby Lestier, Moreira's Magic, the fantasy GOAT. Go back and listen. His advice there was fantastic.
That was a better time for me.
Back when you're enjoying your
I know.
SuperCoach. But look, we're getting to the buys. It's best 18 heading into the buy rounds. And that is round 12 to 16 this year. So it's an extended period in the buys. Round 12 to 16, best 18. And during this entire 4-round stretch here, we have 3 trades per week as well. So I don't know about you guys. I might be out of trades if I use them every single week, but you do have the opportunity to use 3 trades. And if you boost, you get 4. So if you've still got a boost up your sleeve somehow, you can use those 4 trades as well.
Yep.
And I think just it's important to note that a lot of the stuff we talk about, we do talk about how to achieve the best ranking you can. But if you are just going for league wins, I think it's important to know some leagues have, you don't even have matchups during the buys.
Yep.
You might want to just plan your trades a bit more carefully. You might want to hold on to these injured players. So when we're saying trade or hold, we generally are speaking in the overall rankings situation. But Phants, if you're in a league and you're just trying to get a league win, you definitely just be a bit more cautious and maybe hold some of those trades towards the end of the year.
Definitely. We know there's a lot of serious SuperCoach leagues out there, and it's all about the head-to-head, the bragging rights, and maybe a bit of a prize as a lot of groups do play for. So this is an important part. Other coaches in your league might get a bit excited, might try to keep with the overall rankings and get a win. But especially if you banked a few early wins, this is time to think about your longer term trade plan and keep some of those trades in hand, because a trade in the finals or in the final couple of home away matches far more important than round 12 to 16.
But also, who's not having buy rounds on?
I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You can switch it off though as a league setting, but we all play through the buys. So.
Yeah.
Sim, you'll be planning your league.
Yeah.
That's your focus now, I'd imagine.
Yep. I'm the man. Yeah, I've got to look at the league and see how I can win that.
Yep.
I'm still alive in it.
But if you are also grumpy on this Monday, like 5 names, and you're a bit down in the dumps about your SuperCoach team, a big 4-week stretch for you as well.
Yeah.
Plan it out a bit more. Yes, you need some luck. Yes, things will pop up and affect those plans, but plan well, trade well, gain some ranking spots.
And to
over the next 4 weeks.
Speak about these plans, we do have the Phantom's Grand Plan coming later on. So how you're approaching the buys, and maybe people can get some ideas on some targets you've got in mind and your sort of overall strategy coming into the buys as well. So we're going to be going through that in detail soon. Dual position plays, we mentioned off the top, DPPs. There are 18 new DPPs. I'm going to go through just a couple of relevant ones because a lot of them are draft relevant, but the ones that we're looking in terms of classic is far fewer. 18 brand newies though, and the big one that everyone was after, Connor Rozee, added defensive status. That's a huge one for anyone that brought in Connor Rozee. He's been playing defence. He's got defensive status. Massive. We can move him back there now. He has that status now. You can shuffle him around. He's on his bye this week, so if you need to shuffle players around to get them on the field, you can do that. Cozzy Pickett, who's been in some fire form playing as a midfielder, has that mid status. He's a nice bit of flexibility and maybe an option for you to consider this week. Probably just some other semi-relevant ones, but again, not for Classic. This is more your draft. Justin McInerney adding forward status. He's suspended, but he's back in round 12, so I think he's back this week, actually. Sam Banks added defensive status for Richmond, and Brady Hoff adding midfield, playing a lot more midfield for West Coast this year. That's just a few names. There are 18. So Bailey Humphrey a bit more. He's still relatively highly owned as well, considering, and he's got mid-forward status. So there's just a few players to consider, Phants. But the other big thing as well, we have the mid-season draft coming this week. So we might actually have some more rookie options to consider.
Cheap ones too.
Essendon might.
Especially Essendon, yeah. So cheap options to consider. Keep an eye.
And we might need them as well.
We might.
We do need them.
Absolutely. So they're the big things heading into the bye rounds, Phants. We need to know how to navigate them though. So I just want to understand where you guys are at. How many players do you have coming into round 12? This for me, I don't know how everyone else is tracking out there. Round 12 for me is a brutal bye. We've had some bullets, which I'm going to speak about in a second, but where are you guys at? How many players do you have playing? And we heard the GOAT last week saying you want around that 20 if you can each week, so you can have at least a couple of potential poor scores drop off, because we do go down to 18. How many do you have this week heading in before trades?
I always like to, before trades.
Yeah.
I always like to look at it and start with how many premiums you've got.
Okay.
As well, because that's the important number for mine. Total premiums. If you have an extra one or two, Hugh Boxall, Tom Gross, that's not going to be the difference between a good and a bad score sometimes. An extra premium could be.
Yep.
So I always look at my premium count at the moment. I'm going to do it. I've written it down, part of my plan, after trades this week, and probably involve Lockie Whitfield. We'll let you know how I'm going to get to him shortly, but it takes me up to 14 premiums this week and about 20 overall players, not counting your real on the edge guys or someone returning from the bench, but 20 with 14 premiums. So taking a bit of a hit, like a lot of super coaches are, traded in Marcus Bontempelli last week like you did.
We did. We didn't really talk about that on the pod, actually.
Well, you've said enough about it all weekend. Try to blame me. We've all got him now.
No, you don't.
Not 5 names.
No.
So that's where I'm at. 13 trades left. I'll probably use 3 this week. So 3 this week, then 13 left.
Okay.
Cool.
Where are you at? 5 names?
I'll probably do around 19 to 20. At the moment, I mean, I'm including like the plan member in for Zach Reid.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that.
Yep.
So, so it should be okay. I'm missing some big names, but it should be okay.
So I'm at about 15 or 16.
Premiums or players?
Just players. Look, I think because I'm not counting guys like Bo Allen. Like I'd need a miracle.
Yeah, I'm not counting Bo Allen.
I'd need a Bo Allen, a Clay Hall, a Tommy Gross to hold his spot. Like I'm not banking on that stuff. Pencil back would be great. I got troubles. Heading into this week.
Donuts back.
Donuts Dossie is on the horizon for sure.
Is Pencil or Sardis actually going to come back?
Let's hope so, because we need it. But I've brought in a new segment because we've had some news already that we're going to have to make possibly some forced trades already. And it is...
Dodge this.
Dodging bullets. Jeez. Bit aggressive on the clip there. Bit
of
Matrix, hopefully no copyright there. Now, the early bullets we already know about. As you mentioned, Zach Reid, hammy.
Yep.
That looks like
on
a
fire.
trade.
He's on fire too.
Yeah. Played about half a game for his massive score.
Yeah.
Got someone to blame though for that.
Who's that?
In the pan later.
Oh, in the pan.
Yep.
The other one, I'm genuinely surprised that Luke Trainer. I mean, He shouldn't be having it. I know.
You still pumping up, Luke.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
I'm not. I'm just surprised he didn't get concussed. Like, it wasn't concussion protocols.
Cooper Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
That was a brutal blow for everyone last week.
Incredible. I mean,
the most popular rookie trade-in did an AC joint. Looked horrific, and he's had surgery this morning. 10 weeks is the expected return.
Did you just trade him?
Flex as well. Another big
big win for
advertisement
Flex.
Yep.
Massive. Did not.
Yeah,
count
when you
that
Flex,
score.
your Flex is only storing 20 seats. Massive win.
Better than 0.
And then the other one that, this would really be brutal on the first week of bye rounds. Bailey Smith.
Yes.
He mentioned that there was some talk that he wouldn't have played if it wasn't his old matchup against the Bulldogs. So if he misses in the first week, this would be carnage for round 12. And anyone that's hard on that round 12 like me to even field a team, lots of people with plenty of players from the Kangaroos, Carlton, lots of people with, your Cheras, your TDKs, your Sheezels, Sherry, Caleb Daniel, etc. It's going to be hard.
Yep.
Field a team.
Another bullet.
Yep.
Not on the run sheet. Not in effect on the weekend, but, will affect and hit some trade plans. Callum Mills returned on the weekend. Looked good early, but could be in trouble. We're recording Tuesday afternoon. Don't have the final news yet.
We're talking Monday afternoon, mate.
Monday afternoon. But
ahead of yourself already there.
friend of the show, John Ralph, wrote earlier on Tuesday that Monday, sorry. Jeez, I'm just we're in my own world, just 2,500 up here and you guys are down there. So said probably looking at 1 week, Callum Mills. Charlie Spargo came back on the ground, was cleared of concussion, looking like a 1 week. So if it is 1 week, that you can still factor him in because he is still a good price. Pushes back his price rise as well. Yes, you wouldn't pick him off what you saw, but maybe you would. Not the score, but the eye test did look okay early. So just factor that in the Callum Mills plans over the next month.
Now, Phants, to be able to make all these upgrades that we're about to talk about in your segment, your buy round planning segment, we need to look at some players we possibly can bring in on the downgrade for rookies on the bubble.
Not even that's
I wish these sections were longer at the moment. We need them to be longer, but they're not.
I'm going to do a speed run through
there.
these because there's really not much there, and I want to get into your buy round planning.
Oh,
speed round.
Yep.
On the bubble this week, we literally have just a few options here, and one that is the most popular one, Campbell Gray, 119k defender forward from Richmond. Scored 82 on the weekend, negative 52 break even, 3 intercept marks. Phants, you want to walk through some of these numbers?
13 spoils as well. Then went forward. We know the Tigers were hit big time through injury, their tool stocks, but he had some good moments behind the ball and then went forward. So hopefully, if they get a few of the tools back, he then goes back and plays in defence. That would be ideal. Good buying. On a normal week or start of the year, you wouldn't rush to get him, but negative 52 break even, 3 weeks of cash gen, that could be important in a difficult climate for cash gen. So I'll probably get on board.
Now, when we talk about rookies on the bubble, we mean players that have played less than the 3 games. They change price on the 3rd game. Now, these are the other 2 players that might play, they have to play this week for them to be able to go up in cash, obviously. Oscar McDonald is the only other player with a really juicy break even, negative 37 break even, 119k defender. Phants flagged him as I walked in today. Oh, he might be a little option on the bubble. You think he might come in to replace some of the
Well, Alex Pearce had been offered a 3-game ban. Freo are challenging it. So, again, we'll wait and see how that plays out at the tribunal. But if he misses, I know Oscar McDonald was playing forward for the Dockers, but he did arrive at the club playing most of his career in defence. So, could be in the mix if that ban is upheld.
And then Archer Day weeks at 99k, mid forward. Essendon just struggling to get numbers on the park at the moment. Negative 11 break even, did not play last week as well. So 2 players that didn't even play last week on the bubble
pinning our hopes on
as options. These are the ones though. Next, do we go early on these guys?
Oh,
clearly he's on the wall.
Yep.
Angus Clark, 113k
South Australian
defender,
hero.
negative 50 break even, 97 on the weekend, 3 goals playing from the wing as well.
Yep.
3 snags. Do we go early on him?
I think so.
I've gone early a lot, as you know.
Yep.
But I mean, you can't expect 97 every week, not playing the Tigers every week, but he was very good. Difficult conditions, ran all night, bobbed up in the right spots. Again, you could if it helps, especially, had success this year by going early, if it then has allowed me to do the main thing, which is upgrade my on-field team.
Yep. Campbell Gray first, though, given that he's about to go up in value. Luke Pedler only played one game this year as well, -17 break even, 79 against the Eagles.
I don't like the job security.
Okay, you've heard it here first. Five
Take
names
five
doesn't
names'
like
word
the
for
job
it.
security. Now, these are players that have already played 3, but should we go there now after they've played those? There's still cash is okay. I've got a couple of tiers here. The cheap tier, Isaac Keeler, 138K forward here, but he was playing defence on the weekend, which I noticed. -11 break even. He's sort of plugging the hole of no Dougal Howard, no Zane Cordy. Roscoe's put him back for now. I don't hate this one. He scored high 60s, looked okay at times, had, I think, 7 intercept possessions. If he's there again, 138K, his price is moving.
Yeah, you do it.
See it again.
Couple more. Cody Angove, 130K mid forward. I personally just think the job security is a bit tough. He does have Richmond this week, could score okay, but you got Kelly, Stringer, Brent Daniels, Cogs, Callahan, all coming back within 3 to 5 week time frame. Even McMullen for them as well. So I think the job security might be shaky there. Almost prefer Keeler in that sense. And then Neil Erasmus, is it too late for him? 190K. He's got a -3 break even.
Yeah.
Been okay? I think so.
Yeah.
At the price. You need to make money at the moment. So unless I think there's a few other options we're going to talk about if you are not going all the way down.
Yeah. Well, this is one, the next one. I'm doing a speed run here. So a bit more expensive. Now, 5 names. I've mentioned this to Phantom this morning, and his ears pricked up because I'm just giving away all my secrets in the office. This is why Phants, he's flying, but it's all thanks to you and I. 5 names on the pod, helping him out, and he's reaping the rewards here. Kane McAuliffe, 287K mid, -22 break even, 97 on the weekend, backing up a 96 the week before. He had 68% of the Tigers' centre bounce attendances, only behind Taranto and Hopper. That was a season high there. So he is in good form. Likes a bit of SuperCoach too. So he likes a few of our posts on the socials. So that's always a good sign.
What's he priced at? What's his
Kane
price?
McAuliffe, 287K. He's the third string mid. He's third in line for centre bounces at the moment in the last game.
He's the one this week. Unlocks it all. We're fishing around ways to make money. I think he is the one. You mentioned it, our Peyton, a side story. We've had peace talks, Al and I, after last week. So this is coming off the wall. I wiped the floor with him this week, so by 300 points. So, but
I saw you put out a tweet and you did tag Al. Yep. You said piece of cake or something along those lines.
Light work. Tigers, man, Al does like Kane McAuliffe. Watched it closely there from the MCG on the weekend. He's offered up Kane McAuliffe in our peace talks. Could be the one to open up things. And I think he definitely does. Now, I jumped on him last year, South Australian, big Sanf under 18 junior numbers. Hipster, thankfully, he's not here. 143 in his draft year.
He's gone to the draft year.
At Richmond in his first season last year, got on a bit of a run, got a game, tired a little bit, but we saw his SuperCoach scoring on show in spurts last year. And actually, on the weekend, this year, Dreamtime, 81% efficiency, 0 clangers. Last Dreamtime, last year when we got on, 81% efficiency, 1 clanger. Weird reflection there, similar thing. So again, the Tigers need him on the ball. He's tough, wins the footy in a contest, tackles, and importantly, kicks long as well. Raking left foot, all conducive to SuperCoach scoring. So
who would you go? Yeah, who would you call?
I'm looking this week to Caleb Daniel, down to Kane McAuliffe. That's how I make my money.
Okay.
Now I'm going to use it to trade Zach Reid up to Lockie Whitfield. Giants play the Tigers this week. Surely Adam Kingsley doesn't keep him in the forward line again. But even if you're not doing that move, if you're stuck for cash gen on the bench, there's 150K.
Yeah.
Daniel down to McAuliffe. And given what we've seen from McAuliffe, his sort sort of role now in that on-ball rotation and what he's been able to score, then he's going to be okay on field, I think, as well for the next few weeks.
We love it. Now, it did ruin my speed run, but I think it was good. No, I think it was great to talk Kane because, we are pretty...
Not claiming that one, and I got him in last year, but you were talking about it, Al was talking about it, so...
we're big on that. We'll hear, obviously, I'm sure Al, being a Tigers man, will talk him up again on breaking even without Peyton. Now, we're allowed to say...
We're talking about that show, yep. Now we're friends again.
Okay. Angus Sheldrick is another player. I'll just breeze through this. Negative 24 break even. Sheldrick, 5 names, 85 on the weekend. 37% centre bounces. I think that's a time bomb just waiting to basically be sub or dropped again. As much as I love Sheldrick as a player, just feels like he's the scapegoat there.
How many times have we said, how good's he been? And then he's
just can't. I just think you can't pay up with that risk. I
agree.
Especially being down on the pecking order in the centre bounces. And then Shannon Neal, who there's been a couple of questions, so I thought we'd just touch on him here as a bit of creative cash gen. 290k, negative 33 break even, just on fire at the moment.
Yep.
And the fact he's got West Coast this weekend, do we like going a little bit different here? Now, again, I prefer the midfield role of Kane McAuliffe, but look, Neal was probably going to kick a bag against West Coast this week and get that cash gen really moving.
Yes, and a good run as well for the Cats. A lot of home games. Bombers, Tigers, Saints, all in the next 7 or 8 games as well, North. So if you had to look at the draws now for SuperCoach scoring, and yes, tall forwards don't always fit into that unless you play on his team, you name Jeremy Cameron. But the draw is good. So he's going to get all the opportunity, you think. A lot of ball down there. I don't mind it, but I agree McAuliffe I think, if you're going in that path of making money.
All right, well, hopefully we get some more options as well. As we said, mid-season draft, keep an eye out on that and see who we can pick as well from that batch. And hopefully we get just some more debutants, some more players coming through that we can just desperately get. But that was mini little speed run. Hopefully you can pick one of those players that best suits your structure. But we are going to be talking about your structure and your plan, Phants, so that we can get an idea of how to attack these buys.
Yep. No. He's 5 names. He's just...
I know.
He's going to tune out.
He's flat.
Well, I've actually just come up with my plan.
Okay. We'll hear him after. But Kane McAuliffe too as well. Make money, but then also he's that money train, mid-season money train, I think, hopefully, over the next few weeks can make money now. Then by the time, probably have to keep him through their buy. But the end of the buy rounds, I'm planning to upgrade him.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a lot.
Beautiful. Now, I want to hear this plan.
All right. Round 12, as I mentioned just before, Daniel to McAuliffe, Zach Reid to Lockie Whitfield. Then probably just for money, another player, Matt Carroll to Campbell Gray. Yes, Carroll's probably going to stay in the Blues side potentially when they come back from the bye, but need to get ahead of it. Need to bank the money this week. Happy to take an extra player as well in Campbell Gray, given I've taken a bit of a hit there. So, as I mentioned before, 20 players roughly, depending on team selection, 14 premiums, which is the key, 13 trades left after that, and 121k in the bank. I'm slowly banking. I've got record now of what I hope to be my cash balance will be. Zach Butters is the one in a few weeks.
Yep.
He's going to be cheap. We know down well under 600k now, close to a 200-point break even for him. So he's one to keep an eye on out there. But round 13, St Kilda and Freo are the teams on the bye. Most Supercoaches probably should be okay. I've only got Jack Sinclair and Caleb Sarong out.
Yeah, that might be pretty bad that week.
13, yeah, it's going to be a mix. I feel like, quick note, don't panic if your ranking just fluctuates massively one week, because I'm clearly going to plummet in the first week, but I feel like my structure has been just strong for the rest of the way. So expect some pain when you've got those players, but just hold your faith, because by the end of the buys, that's why we're going through this plan. You want to be in the best position at the end of the buys. Don't worry about during.
Yep. Premium counts as well. Then round 13, the plan is to, now, ideally you trade out Cooper Simpson this week, but not going to play, not going to move in price. So I'll probably trade him in head of round 13, bring Angus Clark in on the bubble, 113k. Puts my bank balance up to 150k, as I mentioned, pretty set for on-field options. there. Round 14. This when it gets interesting. Obviously, Port are back in action in round 13, given they got the bye this week. But given the money issues and the cash generation issues, you probably have to let Zach Butters go one more week.
He's also going to play GWS.
Yep, Toby Bedford. So we're hoping for a low score because I need a low score to get him down. Good 0.5 names.
Thank you.
Still listening.
Yeah.
Round 14, it's all about Zach Butters for me. After the Toby Bedford tag, hopefully, now, he was down at 550k with a low Supercoach ton. So if Bedford can restrict him again to a sub ton again, he's looking now 530. So that would be ideal. Great buying for Zach Butters. It's all about him, my plan over those first 3 weeks. And at that point, I'll be trading Sandy Brock out, who could get up to about 280k. Now, Supercoach Plus is vital in the buy rounds. You can get in there and look at the projections, look at what the player might be after 3, 4, 5 weeks. Tipping Sandy Brock to be about 280k on Supercoach Plus projections. Trade him down to a basement rookie. Now, this is where it's going to get hard because we're hoping that some rookies pop up. Mid-season draftees come in and play.
Yeah, part of the plan could always be get this person in, like some basement rook is just,
So coming out in round 14, Sandy Brock, Thomas Simsy Wilson, and I'll probably trade Campbell Gray as well then. Only 2 or 3 weeks of price rises, but Richmond have got the buy. I need the cash. I'm hoping they both get to about 200k. So I'll take the short, small cash hit, and then I'll be able to turn, one of those guys into Zach Butters, given I've been making that money along the way. So say Sandy Brock down to a rookie, Thomas Sims down to a rookie, Campbell Gray all the way up to Zach Butters.
very nice.
Cool.
Give me 17 premiums for that week, 21 in total, trades 9 left. So we're getting low. Then round 15 now. So this is going to be a sad day in round 15.
Now, I will just say, I'm going to screenshot just your notes that you've written here and I'll put them on the YouTube. So if you're listening on audio and you're struggling to follow along, I'll put it on Code Sports YouTube. I'll just screenshot each of these little things you've got here, your plan, that you can sort of follow along. Because it is listening, it's hard, it is tough. So if you're struggling, just go along and watch there and just see the real plan here.
Yeah, but I can release this as well, written form, if it is easier. But quickly touch on the rest because it can change a lot. But
how many trades do you have going into this week?
This week,
Yeah.
I've got 16.
Okay.
16 left before anything right now.
All right.
Coming into round 15, I've got Zach Butters into my team. Round 15, the Eagles are on the bye. Probably trade Ryan Maric then. To hopefully we've seen enough from Callum Mills at that point as well to make some money. There's my cash gen. The main Maric down to Mills. And then hopefully one of my rookies has elevated in price. And I'm trading in a mid-season draftee. 16 premiums for round 15. Then round 16, the finale of my mid-season get to full premium buy round strategy. Angus Clark hopefully has made a little bit of money. He's at 210 or 220. You can see I'm trading these guys out, not their peak, but we don't have time to wait for them to hit their peak. Angus Clark goes out for a basement rookie, and I've built up enough cash over the last 2 weeks to then go Kane McAuliffe and Levi Ashcroft to a premium midfielder around 555, 60k, depending who has fallen, looking at Jordan Dawson potentially. And then in flex, or in the forward line or flex, it'll be Jack McRae potentially back in if he's fallen. If he comes back and he falls down about 500k, or Tom DeConing if he's about 500k as well. And we see something in the previous 2 weeks. So that's about where I'd get to. 4 trades left. I'd have Matt Roberts at flex. Full premium besides him. Full premium besides him.
Yeah. No, that's nice.
All the big names. That's the key and what I've been going for. All the high-end premiums.
So how many rounds left after the buys here? After round 16 there, we got
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
And you got 4 trades
8.
for the last 8.
Yep. Full primo. I think I'll
And,
You might end up being donuts, Dossie.
no,
towards the back
your
end of the
bench is
year.
going to be disgusting at the end of that.
Look, I love it though. You've got a plan,
Got a
which
plan.
I think it's important to have a plan.
Yeah.
I've done a little planning myself, maybe not all the way to round 16. I'm more of a couple of weeks at a time kind of guy. But I want to hear your plan.
I'm a 1 week at a time kind of guy, you know. Just we don't, yeah. But actually playing about now to get into it, I've decided this week. Hang on, let me look at my phone. I'm going to go, trainer down to Gray. Get some cash down there.
Yep.
Riley Bice, done. Kane McAuliffe, come in.
Yep.
And then go Reid up to Whitfield. But then I'm going to have a nearly 150K in the bank
Nice.
after this week. The next week, it's going to be, I'm keeping Daniel because I think as much as I've been critical about him, he's better than having a rookie on.
Yep.
on your
I
team.
agree.
So
And he's
I've
been better the last couple of weeks.
I'm
too.
keeping Daniel
Mhm.
at the moment. And then next week fits up because my bench is disgusting. Mainly because of Dossie, actually.
Oh,
I think we're all pretty bad in that.
Yeah.
part.
But
Benches are
like
gross.
fits up those guys. Yeah, I think Butters is a key target there as well. Bringing those guys. The other one, generally actually could, and I'm very much thinking about it. Tom Stewart.
Nah. Get out.
Ooh, yep. No.
Get out of here.
Ab-
Everyone's targeting me.
Absolute
No,
bargain.
thank you.
He's in my
not going
long.
there. I
Would
don't
he
like
be
shortlist too.
actually?
Nah.
He would.
Not for me
How about
anyway.
this? Would he be the ultimate? He would have to be up there for a flex guy
Yep.
on the
Agreed.
run home.
Agree.
Yeah.
I could. Well, he's on the short list as well to come into that spot, depending on how much he rises. So I like it.
Yeah, putting my feelings aside, it's a good option. But I can't go back
This
there.
week,
I'm not going.
he's 423k
Yeah, I'd rather
Playing the
I'd rather
Eagles.
Sammy Flanders at
playing this
390.
week.
I know, I can't do it. Any owner out there would be exactly the same as me. We
Gotta
can't
swallow
go back
your
there.
pride in
No,
SuperCoach.
it was too hard. It was too hard.
I
to
like
deal
it.
with.
5 names.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This,
It is-
I
he's
can
cheap.
see you coming back to chasing Dossie down.
He's cheap.
I could also
Can't do
and because maybe I like it so much, and I'm going to jump on this wave. I could instead actually go Bice to Tom Stewart
Ooh.
and ride Tom Stewart through. Don't
Good
worry
luck
about a
with
McAuliffe kind of thing, and just ride Tom Stewart here and rub it in old Dossie's
He looked
face.
a little bit better on the weekend.
Will that
but nah.
affect you getting then Zach Butters in a couple of weeks? Will you not have enough money?
I've got to look forward. Generally, I've done a 1 week plan.
Anyway, I think it's good to have a little bit of a plan. And as we said, depending on if you're going for rankings or if you're going for your league, you don't have to be as detailed. You can just judge. If you're winning a matchup and you just want to win that matchup, you don't have to use trades. You can maybe bank those trades and see how you're going next week, but you probably don't have to be as frivolous. But for our people in the Lair League, those top 10, you want to really be looking at your buy around planning and have an idea of where you're going to be at the end of the buys so that you can come out flying and have your team in a better position towards the end of the year.
At least your main targets. Who's coming off the buy, roughly what price they're going to be.
Yeah.
If they've fallen, Primos, you just need to have them on the list.
Now, that is a buy around plan, but this week, this is the hardest week because you've got a few teams on the buy, but you've also got everyone still yet to have their buy. So we can't bring in the players off their buy because everyone still got a buy or has a buy.
Tom Stewart's still the last buy.
So we need to know, what do we do this week, Phants? And we're going to go through Phants' top targets.
King of Bop. Top 5 this week, as 5 names did mention, Geelong had the final buy. So did the Giants as well. So those two teams feature heavily in the top 5, but for other reasons as well. Zach Reid is injured, will miss 3 to 4 weeks, as we mentioned top of the show. 438k, he's got up to a good price, doesn't cost you much.
I'm just showing Dossie my players.
Ooh, bit of side super coaching there. But top 5 this week, we'll start at number 1, Lockie Whitfield. After Adam Kingsley playing for, let's potentially, unless Adam Kingsley comes out and says this 4 position is to stay. But Giants take on the Tigers this week. Whitfield, 566k, good buying. Spend the 130k up from Zach Reid. He's my number 1 option. That's what I'm doing this week. Number 2, in Zach Reid replacements, a little bit cheaper. Cost you less than 100k. Trip out to play the Eagles this week. Max Holmes at 519k, huge down the category against the Bulldogs
One of the goals of the year.
last week. Good buying for Zach Reid as well. We've spoken about Geelong's run home is a very good one. Kay McAuliffe, number 3 for the cash generation purposes we have already spoken about. Good buying, makes some money this week, get an on-field option who's playing in midfield, and then hopefully he acts as a money train as well 4 or 5 weeks' time. Upgrade him. Number 4, Campbell Gray, just because, again, money, we need it. We need the cash gen. He's probably the only real bubble boy to consider this week unless we get a surprise at selection. Number 5, for my friend 5 names, Tom Stewart.
Yes.
423k.
He's in my team at them now.
Cats have a dream run. Now this, and that could be an issue as well, given could they rest some of their stars on the run home. But he's had a few weeks off. So number 5, Tom Stewart. You can actually make money from Zach Reid.
Cool.
Zach Reid to Tom Stewart
Dossie's so
makes
That's
money. So that's the top
12
5.
rounds left. You can have about at least 3 good games from Tom Stewart there. The rest will be.
No, I'm going to do it. This is a move I need.
Yep, that's it. Top 5.
All right.
Take that, Dossie.
Look, I'm just a very sour past owner of Tom Stewart. I started him for a reason. I thought he was going to have a great season. So go there if you're not still hurt like me. Unique names with 5 names.
Yeah.
Here we go.
5 names.
Well, yeah.
Dossie sent me a message last night, Monday night,
Yeah.
and said, this will be Pew Pew. This player. Will be
All right.
Pew Pew.
I bet you won't.
You're trying to go against it again. All right.
All right. I'm trying to remember if I've actually raised this guy before. But I'm really going to play. I'm actually obsessed with this guy. I reckon he's going to be I was talking about he'll be a future SuperCoach fantasy, whatever stud.
Wow.
Archie Roberts.
Archie Roberts. Okay.
That wasn't it.
No, not at all.
I love. Who do you think I was going to do?
We'll go through Archie and then we'll.
Archie Roberts, last 4 games. 99 against Richmond, 94 against Bulldogs, 93 against Marvel, 101 against North. There's something there with it. He's 440, 444. Okay. I'm not saying
Big Archie.
Yeah. I really like him as a player.
Maybe you should be on the draft pod there. 5 names.
So what would you trade him in for? So pretty much a straight swap for Zach Reid.
Yeah.
Could we go?
Yeah, you can do that. Got a good buy as well.
I like this.
Break even 72.
I feel like I feel like the message
Put the pressure on him.
show has put the pressure on. I think he's gone really.
He was good. Good on
yeah,
the eye as well.
I reckon he's
No,
an
that's
absolute gun. Other guy, shout out, who I think one time will become a very good SuperCoach fantasy player in the future as well. Ollie Dempsey. Not for this year. One day I reckon he'll be absolute, really good.
No, he's coming in firing from the hip today.
Yep, well done, 5 names.
So who do you reckon?
Very good.
Cozzy.
Cozzy Pickett.
Nah.
Yep. I thought I was guaranteed. I was like, oh, he's flying. He's having a massive game. What do you get? 148?
Yeah, but
I thought that was the criteria. Just check the top scorer.
Yeah, normally it is.
No, it's a bit deep. 5, I like it. And he's been grumpy too, so he's got one.
That's good.
All right.
Very nice.
What do we got?
We got a new
Few red flags.
A very, very new segment, this one. But yeah, we are going to go through some red flags.
Less time working on the stings, more time on your team, I think. Chief?
You mentioned it a couple of times throughout the show, though, some role changes that are a bit scary for super coaches. Now, Al's done some work on this and he sent me through some of the numbers on just a few players highly owned that we need to possibly be wary of as some role changes across the weekend.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Al. I'll put the link in the description for this piece that he's written as well, which has a deep dive. Lachie Whitfield, you've mentioned him as your top target this week. I'm an owner and I was very upset on the weekend to notice that he had 0. So this is the numbers. Rounds 1 to 10. Lachie Whitfield, 95% in defence, 3% on the wing, 2% forward. This is the time he's spending on the ground. Round 11. So I brought him in round 10. Was happy with the 100, low ton. Round 11, in a score in the 80s, 0% time in defence. 0.
Where he starts. That's where he
0%.
starts.
37% on the wing and 63% time starting at forward.
I think you'll find
No,
as well,
it's not good enough for me.
he did
Phants?
drift back behind the ball in the second half.
How many
but didn't
kick-ins did
start.
he have?
That was the concern. First time he hasn't taken a kick in since 2022.
No, that's not good enough for me. So if you're looking forward to a big score against Richmond, you better hope he's back in defence getting
Keep
that
an
easy
eye out
pill.
for some news on that.
I mean, it's
some
probably
comment.
okay to score regardless against Richmond, but if he's in this role long term and you guys are non-owners, you probably wouldn't you'd rather fade that position than go there, I would have thought. So, yeah, maybe just keep an eye out on some further details around the coach as to why that was happening, what the go is there. But Lockie Whitfield, the forward last round. Harry Sheezel, he's a massive talking point as well. Now, I've got the numbers to back it up as well. So, obviously, you've not happy with Kano. Not happy with the corn.
No.
Calling out the cheap ball. We don't call it cheap ball here. We just call it good super coaching.
Yeah.
So rounds 7, 8, 9, when they had some experimenting forward, owners weren't happy. They moved him back into defence in round 7. 100% time in defence, 94% time in starting, as you said, starting position in defence. Round 8, round 9, 100% again. So starting always as a defender. Round 10 and 11. So round 10, 42% mid, 52% forward, and only 5% in defence. And then 0% time in defence in round 11 for Harry Sheezel. We saw him only 18% in the midfield as well. He was basically entirely forward, 56% forward, a little bit on the wing as well, 26%. So that is not the way that Sheezel has racked up the pill in the past. It is concerning.
Yeah, the issue here is because obviously teams are going to do what they feel is best for them, not best for super coaches.
Correct. Yeah.
And there is a view that in real life, Sheezel is going to be a better player for North Melbourne, and North Melbourne will be a better team with Sheezel if he is forward of the ball.
So from a super coach perspective, then 5 names this is a concern.
Oh, it's a concern, yeah. But I think he's still to the ceiling side, still an up. Like you might want to upgrade him, but it's not like he's one of your last upgrades, I'd say.
Yeah, and I just remember
if this role continues.
Yeah, he's got West Coast after his bye, and we've got more. I'd imagine most people have far bigger issues than trading Harry Sheezel. But it is just a watch on his role. He's playing much more forward. We hope that he can swing back into defence again at some point.
If the bye wasn't this week, the bye was the last bye. Another 2 or 3 weeks to assess it.
Yeah.
You don't know, so...
Yeah, West Coast after the bye, hopefully, regardless of what position he plays. Big score coming. And your man to finish off the red flags here, Ryan Maric, our man. Our man, Ryan Maric. You weren't too happy on the weekend. I know, look, it was a tough game for him, a few clangers.
Had a nightmare.
No, a nightmare of a game. Look, it happens. But he was shuffled around. And I do think it was because he was struggling to have that impact in defence that he was moved around. So I don't know if it is a long-term issue.
Did he actually go forward like you said? I saw him on the wing.
So 99% time
forward.
in defence from round 1 to 10. 99% round 1 to 10. Round 11, 72% start in defence. 26% wing. There you go, Specsavers.
Yeah.
And 2% time forward. Yep. So shuffled him around later in the game to try and get him to impact. But we hope he's back in defence again. Next week, this week coming.
Yep.
To finish off the show, fans,
yeah,
we always love to get some questions from our listeners.
If they are asking that question, they can ask it to me directly. What question do you want to ask me?
A couple of quick ones here on X at the Phantom SC. Got to finish off with a Pan. 5 names. Very busy. Man's got to get going. But a couple of questions here. Jason says, is Clayton Oliver good enough to bring back as a final midfield upgrade?
We both traded.
We all traded.
I kept 463. That's a I'd never thought of it like that.
It's a bit of a bargain. I personally wouldn't do it because if I've traded off a highly owned player, I won't trade back into a highly owned player. I would try and go a bit more unique to
17% of teams now.
Still 17%. I mean, I'd look into it if you're highly ranked. Maybe check in the top 1% what he's owned if you're up high. But for me, especially because we traded him for a reason. Yes, he's back into some form. He missed a week as well due to some personal issues. So we don't know what's, if that resurfaces. You certainly hope it doesn't, but I wouldn't want to be trading back in with the risk there as well.
Yep. A few questions about Maric. A few questions about Harry Sheezel. we've just discussed. But Martin says, can we get Zach Merritt this week?
What's his price?
Feel like it's okay to get players pre-buy as there are more buyers to spread the load. We did it with Bont last week, 553K.
That's good buying.
Zach
In your
Merritt.
words,
Brisbane
Phants.
on Thursday night. I think so.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
And
Like
would you, if they do say to Whit, if they're like, yeah, Whit's playing forward, would you pivot off Whit to Merritt?
Could do. Yep. Like it. Nectaria says, is Zorko a trade-in target this week? Asking for Dossie.
what was that? Sorry.
Nectaria says, is Zorko a trade target this week? Thursday night against the Bombers.
He's going
The
to carve up again. Yeah,
The
look,
VFL
it's been
Bombers.
a huge. I wish I picked him up low 500K instead of Whitfield. I paid an extra 80K odd for Whitfield to be a forward. So, yep, congratulations,
Yep.
fans. Well done.
Okay.
Very smug on it.
Couple head-to-heads here.
That's disgusting.
Josh says, pick one, Zach Merritt or Nick Dacos. Now, there's a photo of Nick Dacos if you're watching on Code Sports YouTube. I was watching close on Saturday night. That is a photo of Nick Dacos when he was ignored. Now, he should have been kicked the ball because he was by himself about 30 metres from goal. I think it was Harry Perriman, correct me if I'm wrong, went long the top of the square to Tim Membry there in the back, and I think it rushed through or out of bounds. Nick Dacos wasn't happy. That's what we like to see in our SuperCoach players. Should have had a goal.
What was it, 17
extra
touches
points.
in the last quarter for Dacos?
Should have had more. Look, that
Yeah.
and look,
Yeah.
0 to Dacos this week.
I'm going Dacos, I think.
I'm going to say Merritt.
Dacos for me, 20K cheaper. And one more head-to-head here. Pods in the midfield. Isaac Heaney or Noah Anderson?
Oh, so wait, is this intentionally put in there for the Isaac Heaney talk?
No. He's got 3 more than Bont. 3.
Phants talked me
3.
out
You,
of the Heen. 150K extra I spent for the Bont.
your Bont's going to score
What was
200
that?
more points.
What
in
was
total.
that? Yeah, and then Dossie just kept sending the photos of the Lord of the Rings.
Worm tongue. He comes in, he tells me the trades and it ruins my trades. So from this week, Phants, go on myself and I'm not listening.
Be silent. Keep your forked tongue behind your teeth.
Not listening.
We've been going too long.
Oh, Phants tongue.
Yeah, well,
We're
right,
trying to get sued.
quick ban.
Quick frying pan to finish, eh?
Yeah, we know Zach Reid was injured, absolutely flying. Now I don't believe in putting the mockers on anyone, but I'm going to put the blame on someone for Zach Reid's injury. Our Peyton's friend over across the border, Tim Mitchell. Now I've got to scroll fair way down to get to the right tweet, but infamously traded out Zach Reid early, been put through some misery. Unfortunately for him, with Zach Reid scoring well. But I think it's him. The SuperCoach gods have listened to him. I'm still trying to find the Zach Reid thing.
What are you?
Oh, the
Do we need a pad? Do we need a
pad.
to pad the pan?
I should have had this up, but I had to go to questions.
Oh, jeez.
The padding pan. Just play a bit more.
Ran out of
sound.
gas prices are high these days.
He's trying to find.
Oh.
So anyway, Sim, we started our show at the end of last week. You reckon we should kick him
He
off?
might have deleted,
Yeah.
he might have deleted it, which is even worse.
Oh,
it's a flat pan to finish.
yeah, I know.
Well, I think I think his work. I think he has deleted it, which is even worse. So he's definitely in the pen. I've turned up the heat. He said, "Make it stop, Zach Reid. Make it stop." What the footy gods do?
Made
The
it
poor
stop.
bloke who's battled injury in his career for 5 or 6 years is injured again. Make it stop. He has stopped.
Jeez.
Fortunately for poor Zach Reid. So Mitchell's in the pen.
Okay, all right. Let's wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for listening,
Yep.
watching on Code Sports YouTube. Sim's going to have a different colour hair
Oh,
apparently.
Maybe.
yes.
Yeah.
Possibly
Subscribe.
next week.
We'll see.
And then you're off to Europe soon, so you can
Well,
just,
no, there'll still be a little bit of time, you know.
bit of time.
Yeah.
All right.
see.
Well, Dossie's got to go edit this train wreck, and it'll be up at 11 p.m. tonight. That's right. All right. We'll
See ya.
see
Good
you
luck.
next week.
Yeah.
Bye.